This young man's name was Herman Lay, and his brilliant idea led him to found Lay's Potato Chips. We all know the story of a boy who went from selling chips out of his car to selling chips all over the world. Herman Lay was born in Charlotte, North Carolina in 1909. He began selling Pepsi-Cola from a homemade stand in his family's front yard when he was only 11 years old. Herman only charged 5 cents, whereas the baseball park across the street charged 10 cents. His stand was so successful that he was able to hire other kids to help him deliver newspapers. Herman attended Furman University on an athletic scholarship after graduating from high school. After 2 years, he decided to leave school and started to work. Instead, Herman and a friend first invested $100 each in selling ice cream along the parade route. Unfortunately, the route was changed at the last minute, leaving the two with nothing but melting ice cream. Herman worked a variety of odd jobs before landing a job as a salesman for the Sunshine Biscuit Company. Sunshine Biscuit was one of the largest biscuit manufacturers in the United States at the time, and it was already known for inventing the precursor to Oreo's Hide Rocks. Herman was certain to make a lot of money. When the Great Depression hit, his time at Sunshine Biscuit was cut short. Herman had been laid off and was desperate to find work. Herman looked for work in the newspaper and wrote to hundreds of employers. He finally received an offer after his 200th letter, but it was more disappointing than exciting. The offer was for a truck driver position with Barrett's Snack Food Company at the time. The salty snack industry was in its infancy. Barrett offered few products, such as potato chips, and struggled to make sales. Meanwhile, the sweets industry was booming. Many Americans were looking for inexpensive meals to feed their families and turned to restaurants such as Chicken Dinner and Meal for Your Mouth. Herman didn't see a future for potato chips and would have preferred to be a salesman rather than a truck driver, so he declined Barrett's offer. And by then, it was too late, the position had already been filled. Barrett, fortunately, offered Herman a job as an extra salesman. Instead, Herman would sell potato chips from his car to grocery stores, roadside stands, gas stations, and wherever else he could think of. Later that year, Herman was able to secure a $100 loan in order to launch his own distribution company and take over a small warehouse. He finally got his first promotion in the industry. He also kept working with Barrett and was assigned his own territory. Herman would sell potato chips all day, sleep in whatever town he happened to be in, and then start all over again. His newfound freedom motivated him to work hard the next morning. His company had managed to expand its territory and increase profits by the end of the year. After only 3 years, it was able to hire over 30 people and produce its own snack foods. Herman's diligence had already paid dividends. Business appeared to be going well until a tragic event occurred. Barrett's founder died, and the founder's family wanted to sell it to find a suitable buyer. The family turned to their business associates and approached Herman, offering him $60,000 to buy the company. The sum was equivalent to Herman's entire life savings. So he sought assistance from dozens of people but was unsuccessful. Herman took a risk that could have crippled him for years and then borrowed $30,000 from a bank. Barrett was persuaded to accept what he had and accept the difference in stock. Barrett eventually agreed, and Herman renamed the company H.W. Lay to pay off his debt. Herman made the decision to try to find a way to sell potato chips on a national scale. Since it was difficult to preserve and ship potato chips at the time, no company had done it. Potato chips were simply dipped from a barrel, placed in paper bags and sealed with paper clips at the time, making them susceptible to becoming soggy, stale, or spoiled. Fortunately, Herman didn't have to wait long before he discovered advanced methods for preserving and chipping potato chips. First, Herman used the same technology that was used to preserve photographs and stamps to develop a special bag and seal glassine. That was not only resistant to moisture, dust, and grease, but also helped keep the potato chips fresher for longer. Later, Herman created a machine to automate the process of packaging multiple potato chip bags at once, and he was successful in selling potato chips across the country. Herman and his team visited various regions, inspecting dozens of convenience stores, grocery stores, and supermarkets. The goal was to devise a strategy that would allow them to take over half of their customers within a week. By the end of the year, Lay's potato chips were available in 10 states ranging from Florida to Wisconsin. Herman would soon learn, however, that there are some things you can't plan for. America entered World War II, and Lay's was forced to close to conserve resources for the war effort. The US government prohibited factories from producing items on the nearly 300-item list that they deemed non-essential, including potato chips. He considered potato chips to be essential because they were resistant to spoilage and did not require refrigeration or cooking. And for these reasons, if there was a bombing or blackout during the war, Americans could rely on potato chips as a readily available source of energy, and I was determined to persuade Congress. Herman approached food industry lobbyists to make his case. Several months later, Herman received word that potato chips would be reclassified as a necessary item, saving not only Lay's but also the entire potato chip industry. By the end of the war, Lay's had risen to become the second largest food company in the United States. Meanwhile, Frito was in first place. The company took off after the founder, Charles Dolland, invented a hammer machine to mass-produce corn chips and then differentiated his flavor from competitors by growing his own special corn. Frito later had even more success when it used wartime powdered cheese to make tasty puffed corn chips. For years, Cheetos has dominated the market. Frito and Lay's have grown at a distance. Lay's sales increased to 16 million, while Frito's sales increased to 26 million. Because of their mutually beneficial agreement, Herman and Charles were able to rapidly grow Lay's and Frito's. However, as time passed, Herman discovered that there was little room for expansion left because his agreement with Charles barred him from expanding into the Southwest. Herman decided to introduce a new product to increase sales while adhering to the agreement because America was experiencing an economic boom at the time and people had money to spend. Herman experimented with various chips and seasonings, sensing a huge opportunity. He and his team devised a combination of paprika, tomato, garlic, and mustard seed oil. As a result, the flavor was similar to that of barbecue. Herman decided to take a chance on the seasoning, and launched the first flavor-flavored potato chips. Fortunately, because barbecue was already a popular flavor among Americans, it was an instant hit, allowing Louisiana to expand to 30 states. Herman's first priority was to finally sell Lay's on a national scale. Television was the most advanced technology at the time. Herman decided to use it instead of relying on traditional advertising. More than half of our households acquired a television. Because there were only a few networks available, many Americans were watching the same things. Furthermore, there had yet to be any snack companies advertising on the small screen. Herman decided to capitalize on the lost opportunity by running advertisements with a catchy new slogan. Bert Lahr, a comedian and Wizard of Oz actor, would always try and fail to eat just one Lay's chip in these commercials. Frito sales Lay's surpassed 180 million during the same quarter. Finally, Herman accomplished his goal of selling Lay's on a national scale. The company struggled to keep up with the demand for the products as Lay's became a household name. Instead of investing in new factories, Herman approached one of the country's most well-known brands. PepsiCo and Coca-Cola successfully negotiated a merger under the umbrella of the joint company. Frito-Lay remained independent, and Herman was named chairman. Lay's now not only had the resources to keep up with the demand for their products, but also to expand globally. PepsiCo's revenue soared to more than $600 million in the first year of the merger. From then on, the conglomerate expanded to over 200 countries as Frito-Lay launched and acquired new products. Frito-Lay is one of the world's largest snack food companies, controlling 65% of the market, with Lay's rated as the best potato crisp in the United States. It is also PepsiCo's most profitable division, accounting for half of the company's $12.2 billion in sales. This is the story of how Lay's founder went from being an 11-year-old kid selling Pepsi-Cola for 5 cents to becoming the CEO of a global snack company worth more than $16 billion. Which of the following facts was your favorite in this video? Let us know in the comments. Also don't forget to turn on the notification bell like and subscribe for more.